Can they just shut down USAID without congressional consent?
My understanding is Secretary Rubio, who's the acting secretary, has no intention of shutting it down, but I do think it's worth taking a look at it and seeing how the money's spent.
We've got oversight. If he goes too far, I'll be the first person to step up. He went too far. Elon Musk is trying to look at waste in government that continues to grow and grow and grow. Guys, if we don't come up with a structural approach for reducing the cost of government, we're all going to be confronted with a debt-driven fiscal crisis that nobody wants to see.
It's not disruptive, it's destructive, and it's to his personal benefit. He is stealing information as well as business opportunities from competitors, and the president has to stop it.
Is it democratic?
Yes, we are back, and we are black here. WLTH 1370 AM. It is 7:24 in the PM here on February the 7th, 2025, knee deep in Black History Month. Before we get to our topic, let's get this caller. Hello, caller. What's up?
Oh, yes, Mr. Frank Cannon. That was interesting when you talked about that boxer, M.L. Griffith.
Yes.
Is there a biography book out there that you know of?
There's a documentary called The Ring of Fire that was done on his life, on Emil Griffith, E-M-I-L-L-E Griffith. But yeah, definitely you should watch the documentary. Great documentary.
Oh, I wouldn't know how to find it, though. I'm one of those computer, I don't know all the modern conveniences like eBay, computer, like that. I never took the time to. They might
have it at a library. They might have it at a library or something.
Well, I just wondered if you knew a book right away about it.
Oh no. I saw the doc.
Oh, okay.
All right. Thanks for your call, brother.
Wait. So his name is Emil Griffith, right?
Emil, yes. E-M-I-L-L-E Griffith.
Okay, thank you. That's all I want to know. Have a safe evening. Bye.
It's all good. Yes. As you heard in the intro, our politicians, our senators particularly, have differing opinions on Elon Musk and his Doge team, their willingness to gut USAID. And so everybody's been talking about USAID. What is USAID? What is USAID? Thousands of employees at the U.S. Agency for International Aid will be placed on leave. This agency is saying the USAID statement said that the order will affect all direct hire personnel except those on mission critical functions, core leadership, and specially designed programs. It is unclear exactly with which jobs are affected. The statement posted on the agency's website said that its employees would be notified by Thursday afternoon. The Trump administration said that USAID is wasting money and needs to align with its policy priorities. Agency staff, backed by Democratic lawmakers, have protested these cuts, of course they have, saying that they will put lives in danger and hamper national security. President Donald Trump's earlier decision to freeze foreign assets has upended global aid, with effects already felt in many countries. This agency, which is supposedly provides humanitarian aid to more than 100 companies, employs 100,000 people worldwide. 2/3 of those people work overseas, according to the Congressional Research Service. So what is the USAID? What is USAID? Everybody, USAID. It was founded in 1961, has a budget of around $40 billion, amounting to roughly 0.6% of federal spending. It is essentially what the United States uses to control the rest of the world. That's essentially what USAID is. And it does it under the guise of, we're just trying to help. We just want to help people in Haiti. We just want to help people in Nicaragua or Guatemala or sub-Saharan Africa. We want to help these people. We're going to, help the AIDS orphans, and we're going to do this. But if you look deeply at what USAID is truly doing, what it is spending tens of millions of taxpayer dollars on, a lot of you would be shocked. A lot of you would be shocked. Now, exactly what are they spending our money on? Well, HIV research about transgenders. The Wits Health Consortium, a South African research facility that studies the transmission of HIV among sex workers and transgender people, has received $30 million from USAID since 2018. Federal data shows. The South African research firm was awarded $38 million in total, but the final $8 million has yet to be allocated. They were also funding a Serbian LGBTQ RSTUV group. Another big ticket item is the pro-LGBTQ organization in Serbia called Grupa Izdaji, which in English translates to Group Come Out. This NGO received $1.5 million from Biden's administration to advance diversity, equity, and inclusion, of course, in Serbia's workplaces and business communities. Electric vehicles in Vietnam. The Biden administration awarded $2.5 million for electric vehicles in Vietnam. Since this huge investment of our dollars, there's only been one battery station built, avoiding a total of $260 of gas. Also, the USAID established just in 2023 LGBTQRSTUV group policy to advance non-heterosexual objectives around the globe. The State Department's Bureau of Western Hemisphere Affairs approved $25,000 for an opera in Colombia in order to increase transgender representation in the arts. In addition to the government funding, the group received $22,000 in private funding. We're also funding a Peruvian trans comic book. Yes, a Peruvian transgender comic book program received $32,000 under former Secretary of State Antony Blinken, according to federal documents. Our government also spent $500,000 to expand atheism in Nepal. Now, exactly expanding $500,000 to expand atheism in Nepal. USAID through political NGOs spent $41.7 million trying to rig the country of Georgia, not the American state Georgia, but the Eastern European country Georgia's election, which is why they are in a crisis as we speak. A lot of people are not paying attention to this in the West, but the country of Georgia voted for a candidate that was more sympathetic to Vladimir Putin. And so the Georgian government, the Georgian Supreme Court, refused to recognize it because they said that Russia had interfered in their election, which is what we always claim. When in actuality, we, USAID, spent $41.7 million interfering in Georgia's election, and it just backfired. And the Georgians voted against us and voted in favor of a candidate that was more in favor of Vladimir Putin. USAID was responsible for spreading the false results of the PVT results in the country of Georgia. 90% of Ukraine's media is funded by USAID. 90% of Ukraine's media is funded by USAID. USAID funds the BBC. USAID promotes the privatization of land in Africa. So you wonder why Africans can't, why places like South Africa, you see Africans barely owned any of their own land. The black people don't own virtually anything. That's why. When you had people like Robert Mugabe in charge of places like Zimbabwe, who said, you know, this is going to be a country where black people actually own things and control things. Well, you have people like USAID, which is really a CIA cutout, USAID is full of people from the CIA, the Central Intelligence Agency, whose job it is to make sure things like that don't happen and make sure that Africans don't get to own and control their own land. They certainly made sure that Nelson Mandela could not do anything for South African black people. They threatened him and said, we'll destroy your country if you try to do too much for black South Africans. USAID funded regime change in Venezuela. They gave $100 million to Juan Guaido, who supposedly the U.S. government says is the true president of Venezuela. But in actuality, he was just an American-trained puppet that we wanted to place as the president of Venezuela. USAID funded regime change in Syria. We just saw this happen. This is why we have another one of our puppets in power now in Syria. We talked about this a few weeks ago. Our government helped overthrow Syria's government. USAID funds regime change operations all over Eastern Europe, including places like Ukraine. In 2014, we overthrew Ukraine's government because they had a pro-Russian president and replaced him with a pro-America, pro-NATO president, which is why Russia invaded Ukraine in the first place. USAID has paid for $600 million in anti-Russia media. $600 million combating Russian, what they call Russian propaganda, but really spreading NATO and American propaganda. They tried to overthrow Cuba's government in 2010 by creating a fake social media company. It was supposed to be a Cuban Twitter. So that was supposed to get the people of Cuba to overthrow their government. It did not work, but we still spent millions on it. We funneled hundreds of millions to universities in Israel. Think about that. Americans cannot pay their student loan bills. I know people who got student loan debt from 30, 40, 50 years ago. And they can't pay their bills. But we sent hundreds of millions of dollars to universities in Tel Aviv. And our government gave $53 million to Eco Health Alliance. Yeah, that Eco Health Alliance, which funded the Wuhan Institute of Virology. Who wants to tell me what came out of the Wuhan Institute of Virology? Like, who wants to tell me? Seriously, I really don't know. COVID-19. Yes. And we're going to get into that next. We're going to get into that next in the next segment before I got to get out of here. But yes, USAID. You see all these Democrats and corporate puppets of the establishment crying about USAID. That is what they're crying about. They're crying that they won't be able to fund the surgeries of Filipino transgenders and overthrow governments in Eastern Europe quite as easily. Now, I'm not saying USAID didn't do any good in any part of the world. I'm sure they did some nice things, but for every good thing the USAID did, it did probably 10 things that would cripple the economy or the political system of a country in the global south or in Eastern Europe. Just is what it is, folks. All right, folks, we are going to talk about exactly how that $53 million to Eco Health Alliance turned out for us at the Wuhan Institute of Virology when we get back. This is Straight Out of the Cannon with me, Scott Cannon. Friday night, the Friday night death slot they got me in. We'll be right back after these.